My booktube friend Sahava from the channel Peller17 Reads made fun of me in a recent video, laughing about the 11 ongoing series that I'm in the middle of. Well, joke's on you, I'm in the middle of 43 series. Hey everyone, Fina from Fina Reads. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today with a rather scary video. One where I have to face my issues and figure out a way to solve them. Acknowledging the problem is the first step to recovery. So here we are. My booktube friend Sahava from the channel Peller17 Reads, I link her channel down below if you want to go check her out, talked in a video just recently about it's unthinkable for her to leave a series open. She loves to binge series and read the remaining books in a series immediately, and she must have watched one of my older videos where I said that I'm in the middle of 11, and I don't know how long that was ago because that number is a lot bigger now. To be fair, out of the 43 series that I'm currently tracking, there are a bunch of them where I'm waiting on the next book, so I couldn't continue reading that series even if I wanted to, and for some of those I really want to, but I just have to wait for the next book. But even excluding those, I'm still in the middle of 25, I believe is the number. We'll double check in this video, but I believe I'm in the middle of 25 series where I could pick up the next book now. I need to rectify that. This cannot continue, especially knowing that there's something starting in October, something I'm really excited about. I can't quite talk about yet, but subscribe to the channel if you want to be the first one to hear about it as soon as I announce it in a couple of weeks, where this list is going to get a lot longer. And that's where my new TBR jar is coming in play. I decided to make a series TBR jar, and I need your help with something. This thing needs a name. I had things in my head of the death jar or series death, but you know, I want to be a bit more positive. So put your recommendations down below. What should I call my TBR that only has series in it? And the idea is that, I don't know, monthly or whatever, I pull one of these out and then I see what series I picked. And then I read the next book in the series, or for some of those, start over with the series, because it has been way too long since I read book 1 and I have no idea anymore what's happening, but I know I want to read the series. Yeah. We need to work on that. All right, let's talk about the series that I am in the middle of. I will do a quick run through of the series that I cannot continue, where I'm waiting on the next book, just so you see what the series are, where I'm eagerly anticipating the next release. And for most of those, I will also probably read the book the moment it comes out or very shortly after. So starting of course with the Green Rider series. Book 8 is coming out later this year. I've already read book 8, so I'm now at the point where I have to wait for book 9. Similarly with Song of Ice and Fire, of course I want to continue if we ever get book 6 or 7. If not, I will track the series indefinitely. Then I have 2 series by Zamil Akhtar. One is Gunmetal Gods and the other is the Lightbringer series. The next series where I'm waiting on the next book is Josephine by Dennis Day. And this is one of those where I don't know if I will ever get book 2. Book 2 was supposed to come out years ago and it never has. And the author hasn't said anything about the book at all. She even took down book 1, so you can't even read the first book anymore. In a similar vein to Josephine is Monster by Duncan Swan. I read book 1 not too long ago, and I would love to read book 2, especially since book 1 left us on a bit of a cliffhanger. Duncan Swan said he wants to publish book 2 in 2021. And since then, we haven't heard anything on his website or social media. Another series is the Seven Strands series by Maria Norris, and technically book 2 is already out, but with this series, I actually want to wait till book 3, 4, and 5 are out. Supposedly, it's a 5-book series, and supposedly, she wanted to release 1 book a year, and that is not happening at the moment. Since we fantasy readers have been burned a little bit too often in our lives, this is one of those series that I will leave on the list of, I will read this once the 5th book is out, and not 1 book sooner. Heartstopper is another series. Book 6 is supposed to come out in 2025, although I don't think that is going to happen anymore. Initial rumors are pointing closer to 2026, and book 6 is going to be the last book in the series, so I can finally close out that series from my list. Next up is the Finlay Donovan series. If you've been around on my channel, you heard me talk about this series already. And from what I've heard, there are 7 books in total in this series, so I'm waiting for 2 more. The next one is a weird one. That's the Villains series by V.E. Schwab. For the longest time, it was a duology, but then I heard rumors about a book 3, but I haven't heard anything else anymore. So I don't know if that was really just a rumor, or if she is writing a book 3, or if there's a book 3 being published at any point. So I have it kind of as a tentative on my series because I want to keep track of it and I want to keep looking every now and then to see where book 3 is, because I enjoyed that series by her a lot and I would definitely read a book 3 and probably reread book 1 and 2 in preparation for that. Then I have one where I'm also not sure if I will ever get the next volume in this, and this is a graphic novel called Hex 11. It's indie published. The volumes contain of, I believe, 4 issues each, and they haven't even published the first issue of volume 3 quite yet, and it has been more than a year since they last published an issue, and with that finished out volume 2. So then, of course, I'm waiting for Fourth Wing, the next book. I love this series. I love this story. I take it for what it is. Like, I'm not expecting it to be like this wondrous, perfect read, but I'm having a lot of fun reading it. A series that I've been reading for a long time is the Chicago Stars series by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. One of my favorite, if not the favorite, romance author that I've read in my entire life. I love her romance stories. I love her relationships. I love her quirky stories. They're completely out there, to be fair, but I just love her writing and I love the way the relationship unfolds in all of them. I've been kind of attached to that series for a long time and I just love the characters. Next up is Darktown by Palma Pickering, another lit RPG. I loved book 1. I thought it was great fun, especially because 2 of her side characters are red terriers, and I have a red terrier. I think book 2 is called The Swamp. I'm not 100% sure if it will still come out this year or next year, but I believe it was sometime soonish. And if you've been around on my channel, you heard me talk about The Last Luminian Saga by S.G. Blaze. This is supposed to be a 13-book series, main series. There will be a whole bunch of stuff around it, and we are currently at book 5, and she hinted that book 6 is not too far away. Another one that I read this year is The Outcast Mage by Annabelle Campbell. This one was blurbed by Trudy Kennewan, which is one of my favorite fantasy authors ever. So yeah, I don't know. I just had to read it and I loved it. A series that I'm probably going to finish out this year is The Witch Roads by Kate Elliott. Book 2, A Nameless Land, is coming out in November this year. I already have an arc and I'm hoping I get to it this month, if not next month. So this one is going to be off the list very soon. And then the last one is Dreams of the Fallen by A.S. Callworth. I just read book 1. He's in the middle of writing book 2, so I probably have to wait a little bit till book 2 is coming out, but I will definitely read it. That one I enjoyed a lot. And now we're getting into the juicy part. So these are the series that are in my TBR jar. So I already have the papers in here with the next book listed of them. And we're starting with Dune, the classic. I've read Dune and Dune Messiah a while ago. I mean, a while ago. It's like 3 or 4 years ago. And then for some reason, I never continued. And I love Dune. I really enjoyed those books. I enjoyed the movies. So I want to continue. Although continue probably means starting over at this point. I'm not 100% sure if I only want to read till book 4, which I believe is where like kind of an arc closes out, or if I want to continue till book 6, and then we will see. I need to start over. That's all I know. The next one is the Tower of Babel series by Josiah Bancroft. That was a booktube darling a couple of years ago, and I read Sentinel Ascents. I gave it a 3 stars. I was kind of middling on that one. I didn't vibe with it as well, but I was still curious to see how it continues. With this one, once I pull it from the jar, I'm not 100% sure if I will reread book 1 because I didn't have the greatest time with it, or if I will just jump into book 2 and see how it's going. We will see when I get there. Next up is another romance series. I don't have too many of those, to be just very upfront, so you don't need to be worried to get a whole bunch of romance series in this list. I believe this is actually the last one. So this is the Romantic Escape series, starting with the Cafe in Copenhagen. It's, I believe, a food blogger or a travel blogger. I'm not 100% sure. But it starts out with her going to Copenhagen to be part of the new release of that cafe that is opening in Copenhagen, and it was just a cute story. And I remember that I definitely wanted to continue read it, and I even bought all the ebooks because they were on sale one point. So I need to read I forgot what it was, Something in Brooklyn is book 2. Next up, a series that I've also been talking about on this channel, at least about individual books or the author in particular, and that is Walter Mörs with his Zamonien Saga, a German author with a very quirky fantasy series. Not all books have been translated into English. I believe like the first 4 or 5 have been translated into English, and then he released a bunch of new books that I have not read all of them yet. You don't have to read them in order, right? It's a very loose series. You can read a lot of books just on their own. But for me, this is a whole world that I want to continue exploring, and I have even most of the new books already, and I just want to read it. All right, next one is the first one in a type of author or a subgenre, if you will, that you will find a couple of more of in the list, because that is a subgenre that I actually love, and that is Scandinavian thrillers, in particular Jo Nesbø's series. That's the Harry Hole series, so Harry Hole is a detective in that case. I've read The Bet, I don't know, in 2018. Oh my goodness, this has been a while ago. And book 2 is Cockroaches. Next up is a series that I'm actually tackling starting next month. I still have it in my TBR jar just in case. If I pull it at a later point, I'll just throw it out if I am done at this point. But Josh from Already Overbooked and I have a buddy read coming up for September, and that is for the Children of Time series by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I've read Children of Time, so it was actually my very first sci-fi book that I've read. I thought it was so quirky and cool. I want to read the whole series, and that's what we're doing in September. Next one in the Scandinavian author one, it's Arndur Indridason with the Detective Erlendur series. This is a darker one. I've read individual books from it. I haven't even read them in order, probably due to translations, because I read them when they came out and when they were pretty fresh on the German market back then, and I don't think they've translated everything in order. And with this one, they also haven't translated all of them, weirdly enough, in order to English as well, so I probably will read the German one. And just to finish out the Scandinavian authors, the other one that I definitely want to continue reading is Yrsa Sigurðardóttir with the Dora Gudmundsdóttir series. Again, another Icelandic author, a bit darker in tone. I remember there were like some weird paranormal elements in there, not in the sense of that it is a paranormal detective series, but there was something going on that had like a paranormal touch to it. Also a series that I started, I read like 3 books maybe from that series and then never continued, and I don't know why. 2 other detective thriller series out there, this time US authors. One is Gillian Hoffman with the C.J. Townsend series. I believe it's just 4 books in this series. I could be wrong. I probably have to do some research before I'm starting. But I want to reread the first 2 that I've already read to then finish out the series with book 4 or whatever, wherever we are at this moment. And similarly, Karen Slaughter's Grant County series is the one that I started, again, years ago. Also remembering it being rather dark. I remember there was some weird scene where a dude jumped or was thrown off a bridge or something. And then she was very descriptive and on how the skin peeled off of his body at the impact of the floor when he, hit the floor, basically. Anyway, another German author, Bernhard Hennen, the Elven series. I remember reading the Elven, and I believe I read book 2 in that series as well, but I always wanted to read the Elven Winter, like, kind of series that happens afterwards, and the Elven is a chunker. So I'm hoping that when I pull that name out of my jar, that I am in the mood for a long book at that point. And we'll see if I can get Jake from the Bookish Drummer roped into a buddy read at that point, because I remember he wanted to read that book too. Ooh, another series that I actually really want to finish. And it's not even really a series. It's a bunch of short stories and novellas and then one main book. And that is the Dead Gin Saga, I believe, by P. Jelly Clark. I've read the Dead Gin in Cairo novella, and then I always wanted to read the next short story and then eventually the main book, and I just never got to it. Also technically not a series, but there is a book 2, so it makes it a series, is Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale. I've read Handmaid's Tale and I loved it, but I want to read Testament. That has been sitting on the shelves since I read Handmaid's Tale, and I've told myself I will read it eventually. Well, here we are, 4 years later. And then a series that just recently jumped on my list of I really need to read it is the Dead Rockster series by Lila Lawson. listen, I read book 1 and 2 a while ago, but then I was waiting till this year, till book 3 finally came out. I want to reread book 1 and 2. It has been a little bit too long, so I don't fully remember anymore the details of what happened. So I have to reread the whole thing to read book 3. And then Jen Lyon's A Chorus of Dragons. This is a shame. Read book 1 and I wanted to binge the whole thing, and then I don't know, I never did. And I actually started a buddy read with a couple of friends earlier this year. They are done now, and I still haven't reread book 1. So, yeah. A sci-fi series, The Kardashev Cycle by P.J. Garson. It has also been on my list for a while. This was a book that I got through a book tour a while ago, and I actually really enjoyed it and then wanted to continue reading the series. Well, and you guessed it, I never did. In a similar vein to The Kardashev Cycle is the Imperial Hammer series by Cameron Cooper. This was actually a space fic read. I read that for Space Fic 2 when I was a judge on the team. That was such a fantastic sci-fi book with a snarky spaceship AI. The story was really cool. I even read the novella that you're supposed to read between book 1 and 2 right after that. And I have book 2 and 3 already here, and I just need to continue reading it. The next series is one that I found at WonderCon. This is the Shapeshifter Chronicles by Lauren Jankowski. And I read book 1 in preparation for then the next WonderCon because I wanted to see if I need to buy the rest of the series. It's all done, I believe. It's a more urban type of fantasy, but shapeshifters, as you can guess from the series. And I liked book 1 enough that I wanted to continue. It was not one of those, wow, my favorite ones, but it was one of those, ooh, that's an interesting setup. Let me see how it continues to see if it could become a favorite series. And then I have to say, shameful. I'm in the midst of the Drizzt Icewind Dale series. I read the Crystal Shard, and now I need to read the Silver, whatever is the next one. And that has also been sitting on my desk here for, well, I started it, I believe, earlier this year, late last year, I don't know, not too long. So this one is good to just continue, and they are fast reads, so I should just continue. 2 romantasy series. One is Danerit's Assassin by Elizabeth Wheatley. If you don't follow Elizabeth Wheatley on Instagram, I don't know what you're doing. Her Instagram channel is hilarious. Even if you don't like romantasy or romance fantasy, it doesn't matter. She has a great sense of humor, and she does a lot of great skits. But that's how I found her series, and I read book 1, and again, it's one of those where I enjoyed it enough, I just want to continue. And then similar vein, Megan Haskell's Sun Year series. I read book 1, I had an interview with her, she got me all hyped up to continue reading the series. And here I am. I really need to continue reading the series. It's just 5 books. It's not even that long. And they're also all not really chunky books. They're all quick read. A sci-fi one that I started this year and will definitely finish this year. So this one I'm totally not worried about. And I actually don't even have in my TBR jar because I already know that I'm going to read it next month and then it's done, is the One Universe by John Mars. This is from our year-long read-along together with Stacy from the Chapter Conundrum. I just finished The Marriage Act and I will tell you more about that in my August wrap-up. It was fantastic, just as a spoiler. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can see what my thoughts are on The Marriage Act. So there's just one more book left, which is The Family Experiment, and we are going to read that in October. So that is already scheduled, not in the jar. I will finish that out this year still. I forgot one Scandinavian thriller. I apologize. That is a newer one on the list. I actually just read book 1, but I want to make sure that I continue. So the same doesn't happen like it did with all the other series. And that's The Darkness series by Ragnar Jonasson. Obviously, I read book 1 already, and the ending was so cool that I want to know how they're going to continue with this series. So I definitely have to read book 2 very, very soon. It is on my TBR for this month, but we'll see. And the last series in my long list of series that I have to continue is The Ronin Saga by Matthew Wolff. I've read 2 of the prequel novellas, the one that the author recommends to read before you start with the main series. And now I just have to start with the main series because I love the prequel novellas. I love the magic system that we were introduced to. I love the characters that we were introduced to. I love the world that we were introduced to. There was so much cool stuff to pick apart, and I want to dive deeper, and I want to read that series. Supposed to be 7 books, 4 are out. Book 5 is about to come out. I backed the Kickstarter a couple months ago, and he should be shipping it sometime soon. So 2 more books to go. Collective deep breath. Which series do you think I really slept on that I didn't continue it immediately after? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to tell me your ideas for what I should call my serious death, TBR or something else. And again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can see how I'm making progress on this serious list. And hit a like button if you enjoyed this video. And then have an amazing rest of your day. And I hope I'll see you soon with another of my videos. Bye!